As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. As I look upon my life,
Everybody, yeah, it's a beautiful Thursday winter's morning in South Africa, the best country in the world. Yes, and we are so happy to be with you this morning. It's Father's Day on Sunday. Hi, Janna, Jalla. Ons celebrate altyd die mans, maar ja, vandag celebrate ons die paans. Because you find that there are so many good fathers in this world, you know, in our lives. En ja, ek weet nie waar julle wat die paans het, maar ek sê vir jou, nee. My pa's nie weer daar nie. So ja. But yes, if you did not subscribe as yet, come on now. It is now time to subscribe. Don't waste any time, because time is of the essence. So we are talking this morning on a very important topic, and that is the role of a father. Due to the fact that it's Father's Day, right? En ja, ons het so paar mense hierso. I think I have my Afrikaans anointing here this morning. Ja, so nou en dan moet ek ook 'n bietjie die Amerikaners dom maak. Ja. Die wat ek net so wil Engels praat. Nee. Ja, so vandag as ek 'n Afrikaanse by. So yes, beloveds, we are live on the Inside Show with none other than Joan Thursdays, and we are talking the role of a father. And so I have very nice, handsome, or must I say beautiful, people in the house here this morning. So we're going to just ask everybody just to say hello to you guys who's watching. Yes, thank you.
Well, okay, let me go. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning to the people in the house. My lead pastor, so in die renken af van sê mens lead pastor res, so wat sê
Lead pasta.
lead pastor.
Yes.
But anyway, you are greeted, you are acknowledged. And then to everyone else listening, good morning. I just want to say, you know, I am trying to identify the spirit that is here this morning. I don't think it's Afrikaans, it's a Kaapse spirit, is it? Because this host of ours is back. He's back from Cape Town. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
Enjoy it while you can.
Welcome, Joan. It's so nice to have you here always. Eh?
Yeah,
It's
thank
nice to
you,
be in
thank
your
you, man.
presence, my
Thank
sister.
you.
So yes, we are going to embark on a very interesting,
A nice topic.
a very nice topic, very controversial as well, eh? The fatherhood thing. And so I am so happy to have a younger father here.
Yes.
Yep. A younger father and another father, but in another way.
Father to the
And
nation.
I'd like to father to the nations.
It's not a joke,
you,
though.
You are welcome. Father Ali, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Good
over to
morning.
you, Uncle.
Good morning. I'm so excited for this morning's topic because yes, Ma is back. So
Yes,
from
man.
her many travels,
Yeah.
actually we must have a whole special show for you, just like a little young welcome back.
Yes.
This is kind of a show thing going on here, but we're happy to have you back, Ma, and in the driver's seat again. And then we have obviously the special guest that is here today. I'm particularly very happy today because
Yes.
I've
I
got
know that.
my ander gedeeltes nou ook hierso, so I'm very excited. And then we have Father Ali, the father to the nations, is ook hierso, and Pastor Violet. So without any further ado, can we have a young drum roll? our guest. So, welcome.
Yes.
Yay! For
Thank you, thank you for allowing me on the show. Thank you, Pastor Joan. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to be here. And together with the rest of the cast, we welcome you back. And as I always tell you, to enjoy your sabbatical.
Yes,
Enjoy it to the fullest.
Yes.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming today. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this topic. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah, that is Pastor Xavier for you because he didn't give his name.
Yes.
That's Pastor Xavier.
Yes.
And I wasn't on Monday. Normally I'm on Mondays, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Monday we weren't on.
Oh,
But
okay.
we are here Thursday now.
Yeah, Thursday.
Always a treat to
Yeah,
have you.
Thursday with Joan.
Thanks. Come on now.
Yes. So yeah, we are talking a role of a father. Fathers have many roles, guys, and there are so many important roles that they are playing, and many times we overlook these roles of our fathers. And today we are honored to actually have a father, a daddy in the house, and we have a father to others. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a biological father to be a father for other children. And that is why I have the father Allie here.
The Father Ali, yes.
I like to call it
Fathers are stars, yeah. They bright shining examples, and they give a happy twinkling in the hearts and eyes of little children. And that is so true. You see how a child actually goes and jumps to the father when the father say jumps, and you see that faith that the child have within a father, and the trust a child have for a father. A father is someone who lifts us up with his love, support us with his strength, and inspires us with his wisdom. Fathers have wisdom. Oh, and sometimes we just have to sit at their feet to draw out that wisdom and that strength that they have. So yeah, we have these fathers in the house with us here this morning, and I would just like to start off by looking at the mirror, and I want to ask the question to everybody: if you are made president of the country, what will you change? Come on now.
Can I go first?
Yes.
Okay. Voor my gevat word, I want to go. I want to go first. I bring back Bibles in the schools and pray into the schools.
Yes, that's a good one. That's an excellent one.
That you stole my one because I was thinking about saying that.
That's why I wanted
Nah,
to go
nah,
first.
I'll definitely I'll definitely reinstate spirituality, especially Christian values, because I believe that that's going to cut out a lot of what we're struggling with in our country. And part of the reason we struggle is because of corruption and bribery and all that kind of thing, especially all the way up there in high rankings. And you might think it's a never mind issue and it's like one of those like, it doesn't bother me. But the reason we struggle on a lower level is because of what's going up on those levels. The reason we struggle with the potholes is because of the bribery and corruption. The reason
That's a
you
fact.
struggle with simple daily things is because of what's going on in bribery and corruption. So if the people that are holding big positions are spirit filled, they will then have the fruit of the spirit, and one of those fruits are self-control, which means they won't just loot the coffers and the reason we paying, I think, up to 45% taxes. I mean, that's almost half of your salary that you're giving away, and then at the end of the day, the robots are off, it's cut down, there's load shedding, there's portals. You ask yourself, but now why are you taking half of my salary for? Why? What? And that speaks to self-control, it speaks to discipline, it speaks to ethics, and that's the reason people on grassroots struggle. The ones up there, they're making money, they in the
Yeah,
system.
that's true.
So they find, but on the ground, there's a lot of people that are struggling. So I'll bring back spirituality.
Right.
Pastor Xavier said a mouthful, guys.
Yeah.
And
Yo.
she covered all of our ones. But nevertheless, if I had to, have a choice or a say in the matter as the president of the country, I would definitely look at the morale of our people and work on that. Like alongside Bible studies, bringing Bibles back, is having life orientation, because I believe there's a general trend that we have of no integrity. Hence, like Pastor Xavier said, the corruption. Just bring back those simple things where we, Ubuntu spirit, where we care about one another. And service, there's so many, man. I can't even choose one, because what about service delivery? What about the trash?
Yeah.
I mean, when back in the day, we know about cleanliness, that you never saw, hulle het gesê jy kan arm wees, né?
Ja,
Maar jy moet
maar
skoon
jy moet
wees.
skoon
Yeah.
wees,
Am I right? You don't need money to be clean. So what we find now is a general trend of trash lying everywhere, and it's like nobody cares. So, yeah.
Service delivery. Right.
Service delivery for me.
If I had something to say, it would be around lawlessness.
Yes.
Oh, you still man.
Lawlessness.
Law and order needs to
the
come back.
lawlessness
That's
has
now
to
a
just
fact.
like
Yes,
be
that's
rolled
true.
back.
Yes.
Because in integrity, we talk about corruption, we talk about
Yes.
no service delivery, we talk about all of this.
It's
like,
lawlessness.
it has to do with lawlessness.
Absolutely
Yeah.
agree
Like
with you.
now, we're making all these lawless things into our norm, into
Yes. Yeah.
our daily life. Like all these traffic lights not working.
Yeah.
And then you see a traffic officer or a metro police just like 500 meters from there
Just
issuing
standing on his
tickets or
phone.
like getting
Yeah.
A bribe,
cho-cho.
yeah.
It's like the degree of lawlessness is becoming to a point where, like, I'm saying, yes, Bibles in schools, yes, religion, yes, all this, but like I'm just saying, just do what you're supposed to do as the law, as the government. Like now you're saying it's winter, now churches must give blankets. Stop stealing the money and give people the blankets. Now it's just general sense of lawlessness
that's a fact,
that's
eh?
taken over our
that's a
beautiful
fact.
country, our very
Yes.
beautiful country.
Yeah.
And it will also restore the pride back into our people, give people hope, give people the hope of a future, and it will restore people's dignity.
Absolutely so.
You know, because Ubuntu now is just for export. Now we export Ubuntu. We don't have no Ubuntu here anymore.
That's true.
Because we've bought into this whole thing of lawlessness.
Absolutely so. I was going to say exactly the same. I was going to talk on law and order.
Great minds.
So to give
Great
law
minds
and
think alike.
order back into the country, because that's where it stems from. You know, if there's no law, if there's nobody who say this is right and that is wrong, you can just imagine what's happening, and that is what is happening in South Africa at the moment.
Yeah.
You see the influx that is happening all over and without infrastructure, and that to me is something that you see the deterioration of this country. It's yussy. It's sad. It's sad to see it, and that our children have to grow up in an environment such as this.
Right.
And that breaks a person's heart, you know, to see what is happening in schools, you know, to bring back discipline, man. To bring back discipline into our schools, our security system that is failing, you know, all those things. If I am president tomorrow, ek sign al die papiere net soos Donald Trump sign elke dag.
Met 'n groot,
I'm sitting
wat
with
is
a
dit?
lekker-
Groot hand.
and
Secret cookie pen,
and
hè?
everybody will stand here behind me and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, just sign this."
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
In law. Into law. So that is what I will do. So if we go back to our,
Topic.
I hope you are on the thingy, you know, on the, yeah. So we want to go back to our topic, right? The role of a father. So who are the fathers? You know, it's easy to think the role of a father is reserved for biological dads. And make no mistake, those men are important. Absentee fatherhood can have a devastating impact on kids. So a dad who walks with his children throughout their lives can make a huge difference. And in today's society, we find a lot of fatherless children out there. But as vital as biological dads can be, they are not the only father figures for many kids. Stepfathers also fill a void left by death. Yet, you know what I'm saying? As yet, and I want to emphasize as yet, because it's in the pipeline. So so that is what I want to actually say. Whether you're guiding your own biological kid or taking on a fatherhood role with someone else, it's important to understand what the scriptures have to say about the role of a father. Now, I have a spiritual leader or spiritual leaders in the studio here with me today, and I would like to ask, what do you think is the importance of a spiritual leader mentoring to a fatherless generation?
As I start. So of course, a spiritual leader is important, and I would like to preface that by saying a proper spiritual leader, because with all the lawlessness, we also found people that claim to be spiritual leaders or call themselves spiritual leaders. They end up molesting the children or worse, and unfortunately, that's something we have to live through as a church and as a church community. That dispersion has now been cast on us, that you call yourself so pastors, but then you are doing this and that and that.
Yeah,
and
that's
that.
true.
So that caused a lot of damage in the church space, that we had to now contend with that.
Yeah.
So now when you do find pastors that are genuine, pastors that are doing this with the right motive and the right intention, it can be still looked at with that
Frowned
eye
upon.
or frowned upon. But be that as it may, we do have pastors that are doing the job of a father.
Right.
We do have pastors that are doing the work of a father. But one of the big things that I'm discovering in my journey now, this being the first official year of actually overseeing a church community or overseeing people that I am accountable for.
Right.
The thought that keeps coming to my mind is the comparison that God makes between a shepherd and the flock.
Yes.
Jesus makes that comparison
Yes.
continuously.
Absolutely.
And one of the conversations I had with my father, which is my spiritual and biological father, was that you need to know who is there and who's on the floor and who
Right.
are you shepherding, because if something happens, you need to understand this is where this person is, this is where. And when an organization becomes bigger, it becomes a situation where, okay, now we have connect groups and we have leaders there. We have area ambassadors, we have leaders there. We have, for other people, home cell leaders. But now
Right.
those people need to know where the people are. So in the event of a tragedy, we can step in there and be that support. In the event that somebody might be going through a divorce or a difficult time or trauma, something happened to them, they were in an accident or something, we step in and we fill that role as spiritual leaders. In the event that you're going through a wedding, we step in and say, okay, let's make sure you're doing proper marital counseling. Let's make sure you're going through the things that you need, so that best prepares you to set you up for your life, so that you don't get there and 2 years down the line, then it's like, hey, pastor, it's not working. Did you do proper counseling? Did you come in the season that you were supposed to come? So there's a lot that a spiritual leader has to cover. But I do want to say this before I stop on this point, is that there is a responsibility on the part of the church member also, that they must account also. And this is the issue of accountability. And we see, I'm a father of 2 daughters. If I see my child doing something she shouldn't be doing, it's incumbent upon me in this season of my life is to hold people accountable. This thing of just doing what you want, and then when the popo hits the fan, then as the pastor, you must now all of a sudden show up. It's like, no, guys. There's a responsibility on both parties here. You must bring your side. I must bring my side, and together we can make this thing work. But the roles and responsibilities do go both ways.
I just wanted to add to what Pastor Xavier said now. about the responsibility and the role of the dad in that, being responsible, is that from a biblical perspective, God is going to hold fathers accountable, just like with Eli, right, for not reprimanding your children, And I think it's a very important role that the father plays, right? The father's the protector, the father's the provider, the father is the, I'm so want to say nurturer, but he's not the nurturer. He's a disciplinarian. He's, all of that to provide shelter.
Yeah.
And, but if you're not being a fair father as well, if you're not going to discipline your children in a fair way, if you're going to be harsh, the discipline is also not.
Can backfire.
It can backfire as well. You're going to have a child who is bitter, is angry, or if you're a violent father, if you discipline in the wrong, if you wait until you're angry to discipline your child, then it becomes abuse. But biblically speaking, what does the word say? Spare the rod and spoil the child. So even if it's just, and I'm, I'm from old school, so I still believe that. Klein rapsie gaan die kind niks doen nie.
No,
So,
I also believe
yeah,
that.
I believe that.
I also
They need
believe.
to have
But you make
yeah.
an important point by saying that don't wait until you're angry, because
Yes.
now you're doing it from a place of
Yes.
kwaad,
Right.
now you're taking out
And you transfer
your
that
frustrations
anger over
and
to
you're
the child.
hitting now the
Yes.
child when he's no kwaad.
Yeah.
If you discipline, there's an element of discipline in love. So
Right.
when I used to give my daughters hidings when they were younger, I'm not hitting the child to hurt the child.
No.
I'm tapping them on the bumps and no, baby, you're not supposed to. But it's
Yes.
it's nie seer nie.
Yes.
But they're crying because it's like, oh, my father's angry at me now. My
Right.
father's disciplining me
Yeah.
now. It's not that I'm hitting the child, blow merke uit.
Yeah.
No. It's not even painful. But the point is that there's an element of discipline.
Yes.
It's not to hit blue eyes and abuse.
I think I just want to reiterate one of the points that was being made, that it's important for a father, for anyone to be part of a community, a church community, because you must come into a fold, you must come under a protection, and the reason for that is, yes, as pastors we need to chastise, as pastors we need to guide, we need to lead, we need to see where are you doing something wrong. And I know that there's also an element where people say, yeah, I watch online, my church is online, or people say, no, but I'm doing self-study at home, and the dangers of this is there's nothing wrong with doing self-study at home and all of that, but the dangers of this is that God has ordained a leader for guidance.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times what you find is people they find funny theories in the word.
Yes.
And this is where the pastor comes in to say, whoa, wach, this is what the scripture really means, or this is what was in context when we do exegesis of the scripture. And that is part of why it's so important for people to form part of the fold, so that you can get proper guidance in
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to step in there. It's
Yeah.
like Pastor Joan said, I've never had my own biological child, contrary to popular belief. But I in the Institute of Parenthood and the Institute of Fatherhood in particular, I move from the premise that all children need parents, but not all parents need children.
Absolutely.
Wow, I
And,
like
and
that.
that's something that
huge.
drives the way that I see children.
So true.
All children for me are the same.
Yes.
They are children.
Yes.
And I went to school to become a religious worker, but all my information I take from my mother. My mother didn't go to school a lot, but she taught us that it's very simple. You don't have to ask forgiveness to be a parent to a child. If you are a parent to a child, you must parent the child. The child must children, and the parent must parent.
So true.
And nowadays, what I see, it's a
It's
dangerous
around.
trend.
Sure.
That the old lady also says we have 10 commandments, but we take on more without being able to fulfill the 10. Now we want to be new millennium parents and blah, 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 blah.
Cool
But
parents.
Cool parents and all these things. But all you need to do is to parent. Don't ask for forgiveness if you need to be a parent, but do it with the right intention. Do it with the heart of God, the heart of God, who is the loving Father who created us out of love. And now you are part of this creation. You do your part by being a parent. So parent in the same way as God parents us, with love and with correction, but ultimately with the hope of you. Nowadays I'm saying, my guy, please, I just want you to be a functional adult who's responsible, who's loving, who's forgiving, who's just a general good human being. One of the kids in my life, she calls me a kind humans person. On Sunday she says to me, hi cool guy, congratulations, you made it. God graduated you for another year. So these children, they are now adults now. They some of them are in their 20s. Others are still coming along. Rodney's now, I can't believe it, he's gonna be 7. I hope he's still 17 this year. But like, I've seen these kids grow, and their parents have given me the opportunity, the blessing to be part of their children's lives. Like the latest one, he's 17 months old. When he was born, the day he was born, his father said to me, you're not a parent or fairy godmother or what. You are this child's father. If I'm not here, he needs to know that you are here. So these are blessings that I share, that people bless me with. And it's such an honor to be a parent and a father. So I would just like to encourage other fathers and parents, because in South Africa we have 60% of fatherless rate.
Yes.
We have more than almost 40% divorce rate.
Yes.
All the stats are against parenthood
Yes,
and
so
against
true.
kids growing up in something that resembles like a normal. Because life is not normal anymore, but like normal upbringing, with kids being responsible, being loving, being able to reciprocate good vibes and good emotions. So I just encourage people out there to grow, to grow good parents, grow in your parenting, and do not strike out of fear, or out of hate and anger and all these things.
So what does a father do in the family? What would you say? What does a father do in the family?
A father does a number of things. A father provides vision for the family. A father provides security for the family. I see this firsthand with my family. If I look confused and I look like I don't know where we're going, it puts my wife into a, okay, now what's going on now? And then my children, and then one thing that I got, my eldest daughter is 10 and my baby daughter is now 7.
Sure.
But one thing, even when they were younger, kids are not stupid. They pick up quickly when there's a vibe in the house.
It's so true.
Even when they were small, they could see something is wrong here. Are you guys arguing? Are you fighting? What's happening here? Why is it quiet? Why this? And especially my older daughter, she's very perceptive. No?
Yeah.
She'll see quickly in them, and
Yeah,
something is off here. Why are you
Very
not saying
sensitive.
anything? Why are you?
Right.
Something's wrong here. And if I'm not sure, and if I'm not providing some sort of vision and direction for my family, it throws everyone off. I liken it to, I don't know if who's ever read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the whole examples that is made all throughout that book about the lessons that the fathers teach in the lighty, and when the lighty gets to a certain age, he understands, hey, I must, this is the
way.
lessons my rich dad taught me, this is the lessons my poor dad taught me.
Yeah.
And there's even an example made where two kids are swapped at birth, and the one whose rich father was swapped with the poor father, and the poor father swapped with the rich father. The child that grew up in the house that was successful and that knew that this is the way forward, that child ends up becoming successful. And the child that grows up with the poor father, that child ends up staying poor. But the question is then asked, whose child was the biological one here?
Right.
The biological child was actually the rich man's child that ended up poor. But it wasn't because of biology. it was because of the lessons learned in the house. It was because of the
Sure.
conversations
Sure.
listened to in the house. It was because of the conversations around the dinner table. That's where the child saw the thing. You'll find yourself doing things and you'll realize, hey, I'm doing what my father used to do. Hey, I'm saying what my father used to say.
It's so true.
Hey, I always used to wonder why my father does this. Now I'm seeing the same thing. My father makes an example of an uncle that the wife comes home fighting, and then the uncle shows him, I just keep quiet, man. Don't fight with this woman. It's all right. I'm not going to still get into the argument. Then you realize, hold on, you checking out of the conversation. You are like, ik ga nie nog beklei nie. And the more that happens, and here's the thing, I want to say this. The order of God is that the father is the head of the house. Guys, if you turn that order around,
Yeah.
So true.
you're asking for big
It's
problems.
so
Yeah.
true.
You're asking for problems.
true.
The second you
Yes.
turn that order around, and
Because you see, that order can be turned around, and in today's society, you
Yes.
see it so often.
Especially
That,
when women
especially when
earn
the
more.
woman earns more than the man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And they put on the pants. So that is vital that you're actually saying there.
yeah, so I'm saying if the woman starts earning more than the man, and the woman, I actually made a comment on someone's post the other day when they asked this question. So I said, I don't think there's any man that's intimidated by a successful woman. I don't think so. There's no that feels like, this woman. But when you come home and you disrespect your husband because you feel like I'm making 3 times the amount this guy, who does he think he is? Then you're gonna find the issue there. So it's more the element of disrespect
Yeah.
or respect to the father of the house. Then you're gonna start finding issues.
I just wanna come in there and I think from a female perspective, just highlight the fact that when we do earn more and we do feel like we are taking on the responsibility, now we have the say so. And I think it's more often than not. There's maybe an anomaly here and there as daar iemand but that doesn't follow that trend of a woman that does earn more, that comes home and that fully submits, that says, okay, here's my salary to my husband. I don't think I've heard of that ever. Like, maybe there is somebody out there, comment if you are out there. But it's in our nature for women that if we are strong, we need a stronger man. We need someone to lead, to
Yes.
take the lead. Otherwise, we become condescending.
that's a
We do
fact.
become, nou gaan ek vir jou vertel, because ek bring huis toe, ek gaan die decisions maak en jy gaan nie vir my kom vertel.
And when that happens, it leaves the O in a position of like, all right, then, what must I now do here? Clearly,
Yeah.
then you're the father, you wear the pants sharp. Now the O sits on the couch and watches TV the whole day because it's like, what must I now do here? Because must no near pie.
Yeah, I listened to an interesting podcast, and it's about a maybe you have heard it as well. The wife is a medical doctor, and the husband is a construction worker, but yet people marveled at the fact that they got along so well. And then the wife said it's because of the role that he plays. He never fails to make her feel safe and to make her feel comforted. So it's not about the money. It's not about who earns more, who earns less. It's about that fulfilling that priestly role in the home. So if you neglect that, yes, obviously I think the wife is going to start feeling I bring in more and start counting. So for men who earns less, I feel they need to step up and know that they have a godly role to play, that leadership role. They are the leader in the house. So step up and be the leader. I can see you. You kan nie wag om iets te sê en ek kan nie wag om te comment on something that Father Ali mentioned earlier about. But okay, you go first, then I'll.
I just wanted to just bring in there
Yeah.
that I know that there's a new trend of
On
the
this
whole
one.
house husband.
Yeah.
And ek dink nie ek sal kan alright wees met 'n house husband nie, because it's like the purpose has been shifted van hoekom is jy by die huis?
Yeah.
Hoekom sit jy by die huis? And I know that times have changed and all of that, but it's important for the man to step up, to go out, do something. And even if I'm a doctor and you are a construction worker,
Yeah.
or you're a cleaner or something or whatever, it still it instills a sense of manhood as jy gaan uitgaan en gaan
Yes.
werk vir dit. So yeah.
I also just wanted to say that in the absence of leadership, anybody can lead. So it's clear that we've established here that the
Yeah.
husband should lead.
Right.
That is the direction that God has given to us. But what I want to reiterate is that sometimes we neglect the importance of respect. Respect for self is paramount.
Absolutely.
You need to have respect enough in yourself to respect yourself to the point where other people start respecting you. And if we can just mix this in with all the other talk that we have about, power dynamics, role
Yes.
clarifications, and all those things, what it really comes down to is, do you have respect enough in yourself?
Yeah.
Love enough in yourself.
Self-respect.
So
So
that you
true.
can
Goes
love
a long
others, so
way.
that you can respect others.
Goes a long way.
Because we're making everything now overcomplicated. Everything has become so complex. When I look at how people do life now, it looks like, I feel like 100 years old, because it's like everything is so complicated. And meanwhile, they fail and they fall and they blah, blah, blah. Marriages last like 2 years, 1 year, 3 months, because things are so complicated. If you have respect for yourself, if you know who you are in a relationship, and you and your husband or your wife, or you communicate respect, then I think it doesn't matter who earns what, who has big boy pants
Yeah,
and
no,
who has
yes,
baby boy
it's so true.
panties on.
Yeah.
It's like it's the same. Like you just need to respect yourself.
Yeah, you don't need to share the same opinions
Right.
of others,
You
you
can
know, but you
disagree.
can be respectful.
Yes.
You can be respectful, and respect goes a long way.
Absolutely.
And so, on the topic of respect, I would like to ask the questions: how do you, as fathers, see the respect of children today, and where did we fail?
Come on.
Sure.
Yeah, so for me, we failed when we started taking corporal punishment out of schools, right? And I understand the thought process behind it. The thought process behind it was the fact that people were using it to abuse.
Abuse, yeah.
And which goes back to our initial statement. It's not the element of abuse. It's an element of discipline.
Yeah.
And the second you begin to remove discipline, then the child starts saying, oh, so there's no order here. Okay, so I can say what I want to and there's no repercussion.
Yeah, look
Okay.
at what's happening at schools today.
Now, precisely, that's the
Yeah.
point. Now it's like, okay, so there's no repercussion. Then the law started bringing in this element of a child you can take your father to court, or
Yes.
you
You can divorce your parents too.
you can
And
declare
that actually came from
Emancipate
America.
emancipation.
Yeah,
That
that's
was an
American trend.
thing.
You
Yeah.
can declare emancipation on yourself, right? And what happened was Will Smith lightly declared emancipation on himself because he felt he has money. And then he realized, oh, wait, I actually need my parents. So it's a situation of like the mainstream media, and which I believe is controlled by the enemy, is to push certain narratives to purposely destroy family units.
Yes.
That's why every song, every movie, everything is geared towards destroying a family. How can we
agree.
break this family?
Yes. I
How can we
agree,
destroy
yes.
every law that comes out? How can we push a narrative that this child can tell the parent? Then we get to a point where the parents don't discipline anymore.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember a time that if I make nonsense, then I'm scared to tell my parents that, hey, whoa, because I'm going to get a hiding for catching on nonsense there and when I
at
come
home.
home again.
Yes, that's true.
Because why did you do this? You were wrong. But now it's a matter of the parent goes to school.
Yeah.
This is a bad cliche, but with a swolkous en 'n gown. Jy
Ja.
gaan nie my kind kon sê nie.
Yes.
Hallo, jou kind het nonsens aangevang.
Ja.
Jy moet mos jou kind discipline. Now the discipline becomes my problem. Now when I do want to discipline, how many videos have we seen gone viral of teachers having to stand in a corner
Yes.
and protect themselves
Yes.
because the children feel, hey,
Yeah, and
I'm
you
gonna
can't
tell
do
you now.
anything.
And there's nothing you can
Right.
do because the
That's
second you
true.
do something, the whole law is against you.
Yeah.
Everything. So that it chops your hands off. So now you can't discipline. And so for me, when that rule came out of you can't discipline, I thought to hell with that rule. In my house, if my children catch on nonsense,
Yes.
there will be a hiding and there will be a stern talking. Because I'm not going to raise a group of delinquents here
Yeah,
that
that's
doesn't know
true.
what they're catching on in life. I'm
Yeah.
not saying abuse, but
No.
I'm saying discipline and abuse is two separate issues.
Absolutely.
Abuse is something else, but discipline is something different. And the lack of discipline, if you watch the movie Coach Carter, Coach Carter
beautiful
explains it in such beautiful detail. I would urge anyone who haven't seen the movie, go watch that movie. It's a father
Yeah.
that comes with morals and discipline. Then he needs to coach a group of ladies that come from fatherless houses.
Yes.
And when we start teaching the light is, we will call each other sir.
Yes,
You will
respect.
wear your tie.
Nice.
You will close your tie. Then the one light is like, hey, me, I can't. You're not going to come tell me who do you think you are. And later on, when those light starts realizing, hey, look, this uncle is trying to teach me discipline.
Yes.
This uncle is trying to teach me self-respect. This uncle is showing me how to be a moral citizen in my community. And at the end of the movie, the light realizes, hey, you know what? This is not doing this because he doesn't like me or he
Yes.
doesn't. And when his cousin gets shot, the first place he goes, the only person I know that has a father figure in my house, in my life, that will give me sound counsel and advice, I need to go to the coach. He's the only one that tells me, don't do this, don't. So discipline is not there to destroy you or to know you off or to want to tell you nonsense, which brings me back to the point of even being a pastor. If I hold you accountable, there's discipline. I can't leave you to do what you want. And then if your marriage doesn't work out, the church don't care, the church didn't phone me, the church did. Hello, when I hold you accountable, then you leave the church. Or you take offense.
Yeah.
Or it's basically like the Coach Carter movie. You
that's
can't
right.
take offense
Yes.
when you're
true,
being
yes.
held accountable. And here's where
Right.
the new school issue comes in. Accountability, then you jump on your offense horse.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the issue comes in also. Don't
Yeah,
be
there's a
offended to
quote.
everything.
There's actually a quote that says, "Self-respect is the fruit of discipline." And I think that is actually, if you don't respect yourself, and even as a parent who goes to school to sort out a teacher,
Yeah.
that parent have no self-respect
Wow.
because you are not willing to actually discipline your child
Especially if the child is wrong.
and allow
Yes.
the child to be disciplined at school.
Yes.
Because that's why our country is in such a turmoil.
Yes.
That's why our children are running amok.
Yep.
That's why our children are now the parents and the roles are reversed because parents are too scared to discipline their children
That's
because
why you
they're
have a
too scared.
13-year-old lighty shooting people
Absolutely.
in Yellows and in Westbury.
Absolutely.
Because they've become rebellious. There's a rebellious spirit. And what is Second Samuel? Is it Second Samuel that talks about the rebellious spirit is like witchcraft.
Yeah.
And so we are raising a generation who have no respect, no integrity. They don't even know what that word means.
No, definitely.
So they can lie to your face. They can lie, and they believe their own lies and not,
and
forgetting.
you were a teacher, you know
Yes.
exactly what happened there.
But I believe that during the time that I was teaching, it was much
was still
better.
nice. Yeah,
They were
yeah.
all order.
Yeah,
né?
yeah.
There was no
But
that
I wanna-
respect. We were still regarded as the people
Yes.
in the community. This is the
Yes,
teacher.
yes, there's
What I
respect.
see now is scary. for
But
me.
it's the minute
Hey?
that corporal punishment were taken away
Yes.
out of the schools.
Yes.
That is where the discipline actually went out of the door.
Yes. Yeah.
I just wanna come back to the fatherhood thing.
Yeah.
In South Africa, I mentioned that 60% of children
are
grow
fatherless.
in homes or in
Yeah.
situations where they don't have fathers. You know that in South Africa it's very difficult to get jobs
Yes.
that gives you, like, for a father that gives you that.
That pride and dignity, yes.
So this whole
the
thing
morale is
about
down.
dignity.
Yes.
I'm not. Take it from me. I'm not saying fathers abdicating their responsibilities and being bad fathers. They should be seen for who they are.
Right.
But I'm saying our country has become a place where men has been relegated to the corner there, and there's struggling. So now you get grief at work. You come home, you beat the wife beats the children, the children beats the dog. It's
Because of anger. I
yeah.
guess.
So we've become
And
such an
frustration.
angry nation
Yes.
that we can't see past our own insecurities.
Right.
And still they say that engineers and computer technicians and blah blah, those are the scarce skills in our country. We need people who will teach people like emotional intelligence.
Right.
We need
It's
people
true.
who will tell
Yes.
people like you can be whole again.
Yeah.
You know, you are more than your job. You're more
So
than your
true.
bank balance. You are actually more, and also give people the right to have hope again.
Yes.
So because now you get, yes, parents are struggling. Now you go, you get a job as a teacher. You don't like children, but you can get this
That's the
job.
only-
so you
Yes,
get
yes.
the job.
yeah,
So
only
like
way
it's
out,
it's
yes.
like
Yeah.
you know, it's a drudgery going to work. You know, you don't give the kids your best. Now the parents also have their own issues here at home. They can't deal with the pressures, the social pressures of like performing and like having the big car, the big house, the blah. So the teacher is giving them a moment, and they somehow go and they take all this frustration out of the teacher.
Yeah.
And it's just a vicious circle
is,
of the kids are left like, okay, you guys are doing this thing, I'm gonna do my own thing. And then on the other thing about the roles being reversed is this thing of parents asking the kids for forgiveness to be their parents. It's like the kids say, no, but when you and daddy were this old, you also did this. When you and daddy went. I'm saying it's being a child and a parent, the relationship is not a negotiation.
No, definitely.
You have your responsibility. You will have to
And I
ask
think
answer
that's
before
one
God.
of the things that actually brings in
Yes, man, you-
that actually brings in that low morale, man. That discipline that is gone out of the
Yeah,
household. And I
yeah.
think that's where we failed by asking, listen, there's nothing wrong in telling a child, oh, I didn't realize you did this. Well, I heard that you were the one who did A, B, and C in an argument. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? There's nothing wrong in that. But to ask your child, forgive me if I wasn't a good parent, or hier, jy weet.
No, okay. I wanted to latch onto that. Father Ali said, being unapologetic about your discipline.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, and I know exactly what he means, where parents are not, they're too scared to discipline their children, or they fail to discipline their children. For me, it's sometimes a lack of knowledge, a lack of, I feel there's a lack of parenting skills in society, not only in South Africa, over the world, even in the US, where parents are not aware of what their role is. They abdicate from their role. Like he said, the kids become the parents, right? At the same time, I remember my father being a very strict dad. He was my hero, not a perfect man, lots of flaws. But I respected my dad, and like Pastor Xavier said earlier on, where as jou pa gespraat het, as hy iets gesê het, you listen, right? We couldn't even stand outside. My dad would say, wat soek julle man, wat staan julle op die stoep, so we knew when my dad was coming on, jy moet hardloop in die huis en jy kan nie, 13, 14 years old, jy soek 'n man, but we don't even know what that meant. But when my dad disciplined me when I was just a young teacher, and he didn't like the fact that I associated myself with people that smoked. So as a pastor, he felt he needed to reprimand me. He actually asked me for forgiveness. And I think that element, Father Ali, I wanted to earlier on just bring in, is that parents, although we are parents, we need to ask our children for forgiveness when we are wrong. Because when you're wrong, because parents also don't always know all the answers, or we hurt our children, and then children sit with bitterness and anger, like with my brother that's late. My dad used to discipline in a violent way. Somebody graaf gegryp.
But don't you think it depends on age?
Yes, okay.
Age of the child.
Yeah.
Maar as jy nou 'n graaf gaan gryp, that borderlines, to abuse, and I think
Yeah,
I can
He's
also-
and that's not
it's
acceptable.
not
That's
acceptable.
never acceptable.
But also in the times, because I know my grandfather was also very, hy was baie kort van draad. So
Ja.
hy sal sommer ook 'n graf gegrawe.
Ja, of
Ja.
gooi met
And
die
I
ding.
think
Ja,
in
ja.
an instance like that, my kind te sê, okay, my kind, ek het nou nie bedoel om jou te verongeluk nie,
Ja.
maar ek was baie kwaad. I think that's something
Yes,
different.
that's what I'm
But-
actually trying to
and,
get
and
at.
alluding to what Father Ali is saying is that we shouldn't be apologetic when
No.
we do discipline.
No.
We shouldn't be abusing our children.
Yes.
However, when we do discipline, wanneer ek vir my kind sê,
Fine line.
Yes, there's a
Don't
fine
do
There's a
line.
difference between
I-
discipline and
Yeah,
I
and
told
abuse,
you,
definitely.
it's like my children have phones now.
Yeah.
Now I said, I told you, you can only have this phone
Yeah.
for an hour.
Yes.
Why are you still sitting with this phone? It's 9 o'clock.
Right.
Now I need to discipline my. I can't
Yes.
say sorry, my baby.
Nee, no.
It's 9 o'clock. You must go sleep.
I agree with you.
But
I agree with you.
I just
Yeah,
wanna
don't
add
play
on
by
to
Yes.
something.
Ek vat sommer 'n iPhone hier.
I want to say, I just want to say, like, as from a point, from a
Ek like
mother's
that.
perspective, I think it's important because we as mothers, we become very overprotective over our children.
Yeah.
So ons wil nie ons kindertjies moet geslaan word nie,
Yes.
of moet reg gesê word nie.
Yes.
But I think it's important that when the fathers want to father,
Yeah.
allow them to father.
Yes.
Because a lot of the times we want to
And don't
interject.
step in.
Don't step
because
in
we
in
wanna
front of the
interject.
child.
Yes.
Yes.
Ja, jy kan nie my kind so slaan nie.
Ja.
Oh, wait, dis ons kind.
Yeah.
Was die kind verkeerd?
Yes.
Is the father doing the right thing by disciplining the child? Yes. Like we're saying, and we've said this many a times. Not abuse, but
But
discipline.
Yes.
that problem I see a lot with blended families.
Yeah.
Where,
Oh,
especially
yeah,
when the
well,
when the
definitely,
mother comes
Don't
with the
even
children.
go there.
Now the father is like, Marila, it is mos beskof. Now I know of a situation where this guy has his son
Yeah.
and she obviously now came with her son. But now he wants to bring the discipline with both lights to say, hey, if 9 o'clock you must put
And
the
the
phones
father
away,
now.
Yes.
then you must put the phones away. Now the mother comes in. Yeah, but you can't tell my child. Hello. I'm not
seen
going to
that.
give my child one set of rules and your child can do what they want to.
Yes.
But I'm the father most here and I'm not being unreasonable. I'm not doing something. It's another thing if I'm hitting your lighty or if I'm clawing your lighty up. Then
Yeah.
you can say, you're treating my son differently because he's not your biological son.
That's
That's
right.
a different story.
Yes.
But if I'm being fair across the board, what's good for my lighty must be good for your lighty. Because now the lighties, like I said earlier, they're not dumb. They see, okay,
Then
I
you're
can
gonna-
get away with murder because my mother
Yeah.
is taking my
They're
part
gonna
here.
play you all up
Then
against
they play
each
you all
other.
up against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, daddy said this, oh, you're not my real father
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, your husband said, then it's like, now you're becoming disrespectful. It's like,
Disrespectful.
no, guys, hold on. This can't be this
Yeah.
way. So, to speak about, to just reiterate the point that my wife was making is that if the father now comes in and says, hold on,
Yeah.
wait, then you, even if it's not his biological son or
Right.
his biological daughter, you must be able to back down and say, let's take my ripalos, laat hy skel hierso en
And it's the
Yes.
right
discipline
way.
hier.
That's the right way.
But
Because you will
externally.
see, but I want to come back to, because we're almost done, right? What are the different ways a father can be involved in his child's life?
There's many different ways. There's what I'm doing now is I try to identify what my kids like to do. So Taya, she's more creative. She can sit and come up with stories, and we can sit for 3 hours here. Like, they come and play this, come and play that. Everyone wants the phone in her hands, but now I have to curb that. I'm like, hey, listen here, you can't stand play on your phone the whole day. Do something else. Go play outside or
Yeah.
draw something or do something. Now, Taya, if you take the phone away, she can occupy herself for 5 hours. She don't even think about the phone. She can sit there and draw, paint, talk to herself, play her own little games. So now you have to, the biggest thing to answer your question, you must be present.
Yeah.
Because the story of,
Yes.
there's a difference. Listen, you can be at home and be absent.
It's true.
You can
So
be,
true.
you there, but you're not there.
Yeah.
You there, but you're on your phone. You there, but you're on your computer. You there, but you're doing your own thing. You're in your own dwell. Then can I quickly, man, leave me alone. I'm busy here. You there, but you're not there.
So
So to answer that question for me in a nutshell is be present, listen.
Yeah, because without presence you will never, because I think in that regard, the way that a father can also be there for the child is to be a mentor to the child. So if you're an absent father, how will the child be mentored? You know, that is why you find so many broken children because of absent fathers. You are there, but you come from work and you
You're tired,
just sit
you don't want
there.
to talk,
You don't want to talk.
Yes.
You just want to watch TV and flip from channel to
That's why
channel.
you'll find kids saying that my father was there, but
Also not
he
there.
wasn't really there. I couldn't really speak to him. He didn't really say anything to me.
But
That's where you find
I
it.
think fathers need to be intentional, because there's something like spending quality time with your children. So if you have had a long day, you've got a goal set, your energy to say, when I get home, at least for this hour, I need to, spend time with my children, listen to how their day was. Even if it's I listened to
Yeah,
Michelle
at the
Obama,
table, at the table,
how
yeah.
important it was for them to have a meal together. And at that time, during the meal time, that would be their bonding time. That would be the time that the dad can actually ask the questions. So how was your day, and what did so-and-so say? And you can teach. You can teach when they say, oh, my friend did this and X, Y. Then you can respond by saying, okay, next time you react like this. Next time you say that. So that's an important
Yeah, that
time
is-
for
in
a
this
family.
house- in
The
this
only
house
one
we
to
don't
say-
believe
to
that.
say
Yes,
that.
and
I
it's
just,
burning.
Because we
wanted,
almost
I just
done.
wanted to say this thing. Like a physical presence in your child's life is
It's vital.
paramount.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
need to be physically
Yeah,
present. I
that's-
can
Yes.
see my friends who are not there in the child's life.
Yeah.
It definitely affects the child. But then the other thing is like, the child is the child.
Yeah.
You are you.
Right.
Don't make your insecurities, your issues, the child's
Yes.
issues.
No.
Allow the child
Yeah,
to
and
be
in
the
today's
child.
life, it's like the mother and the child are friends.
Yeah,
Yes.
don't,
So they
don't
discuss the
So-
father.
Yes.
And
And
that's where
It's so
the-
true.
So the child is the
disrespect
child.
comes.
So
Yeah.
you
So
allow the
true.
child
To
to
be
the
a child. Yes.
And the other thing is like, you have all kinds of liabilities, all kinds of investments, but your children are your biggest investment,
Yeah.
your biggest
Asset.
liability.
Yes.
So
Amen.
see them like that
Yeah.
and value them like that.
So
And
true.
for God's sake, love your child.
Yeah.
Love your child.
Yes.
Make the love come from
Yes,
no matter
from
what
within
you
men.
have with the child's
Yeah.
mother, with the blah blah
Yes,
blah, with
so
yourself,
true.
with the issues with yourself and the issues that you have to grow. And then do yourself a favor and educate yourself regarding parenting. Like seek advice from other
Yes,
people
amen.
who've done
Yes.
it before. Learn from other people's mistakes
Yes.
and do not repeat them. And like you the child is an extension of you. Be proud of your children. Live in pride of your child's achievements,
Yes.
however mediocre they may be.
Yeah.
But like celebrate your child
Validate
and
them.
validate them and bring them up knowing God, knowing the Savior that saved you and them, and learn from your heavenly Father how He loved His
yes,
child,
yes.
and then your child will know that they are loved.
Yeah, because the father can actually also lead their children to God, by your lifestyle. That child will marvel at you. Well, you will be that wow role model. You know what I'm saying? By just living the life and lead the child to Christ. And then being that spiritual leader in the child's life and being an encourager.
Yes.
A father needs to encourage
Yes.
his children,
One of-
and that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
If a father encourages
Yes,
and see the beauty,
absolutely.
because sometimes children lack affirmation.
Yes.
So they seek for affirmation
Right.
outside the house.
Yes.
So it's
Hence
important
we
for
have
the father,
gangsterism.
to actually encourage their children. And my last question is, because we actually over our time. Our last question is, what would you say are the challenges fathers face in today's society?
I think one of the things fathers, the big challenge, if I must put maybe top 3, is the fact that they grew up without a father, so they don't know how to be a father. That's a big issue.
So true.
The second issue is the fact that a lot of society, and as I said earlier, is from the enemy, is geared purposely against the man, because the devil understands, if I can get the father of the house, the rest is easy, because then the children are not covered, the wife is not covered, it's open game for me. It's hunting time, hunting season for me now. I can take whoever I want. So those for me are the I would say maybe top. Because they grow up without a father, they have that insecurities. They have that, am I good enough? Am I doing this right? Was I supposed to be doing this in this way? I didn't have a father that said to me, you must make sure. Now I have a father that said to me, go home after work. Do this. Make sure. Now when I look at my other
Eat at home.
yeah, go eat at home, go do this, go. Now when I look at some of the other ones in my space, they struggled with that element. Not coming home. Then the wife complains, yeah, he doesn't come home, he doesn't this, he doesn't that. Then when we done with that counseling session or we done with that conversation, we driving home saying that these people are struggling with things that are elementary to us. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This is like,
this isn't
oh,
so
bro, this
silly.
isn't so.
Yeah.
You're struggling with something that's so simple, but they don't understand that because they didn't
Have
grow
a
up
father.
being taught that. For us, it's mundane and elementary. It's like, oh, bro, you must go home. What do you mean? Go home. What do you mean you're sleeping out on the weekend? Huh? You can't sleep here, bro. Gaan huis toe, jy te vrou en kinders.
Yeah.
What do you mean you vang die aan, you sê nie dodge your phone, you draai your phone. It's like things that we take for granted because we grew up with parents who told us you can't do this, you can't park the car there.
Park the
And
I
for
think-
them it's
I also think Father Ali mentioned something there that said, if a father cannot be a provider,
Yeah.
it strips him
From his dignity.
from disciplining. Because it seems like he has no say because he's not working.
I know this first
And-
time. My take on this is first of all this whole toxic masculinity that's everywhere.
Right. That's correct.
And that it's so difficult to just say it's wrong, man. We don't tigers do cry.
Yes.
And we also need to acknowledge, like, we're not as strong as we would like to project ourselves to be. And this thing to be strong, to be masculine, to know all the answers, it's a society has built this thing. It's actually wrong, because God is a God who gives, God who forgives, God loves, God is long suffering. When you read
He's
the
patient.
13, what Corinthians 13,
Yeah.
that is who God is. That
Yes.
is who a man should be. So the next thing is this whole thing, the pressure to provide.
Yeah.
There's terrible
true.
pressure to provide.
There
it's
is,
like
yeah.
being in a vice grip.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
And it many men are beached whales lying there on the sand because they couldn't make it out in the deep waters
That's a fact, eh?
of bank balances
Yeah.
and zero sum games
Yeah.
and stuff.
And
So
the
we
nagging
need-
of the woman in that respect, in that, that's where the disrespect comes
Yes.
in, as the woman talks to the man.
Yeah.
So we need to acknowledge
We
these
need to
things.
acknowledge
As
it.
men,
We
we
need
need to
to.
say that, like, it's tough out there.
Yeah,
you know.
true.
And like we having all this pressure on us, and like it's not an excuse for men, because in South Africa we have the most aggrieved women and child abuse rate in the whole world.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
We should stop this thing
Yes.
of being violent, of choosing violence over
Our men
communicating.
are very angry.
Yes,
man.
and
Very.
being
Very
so
angry, very abusive.
But it's like the historic background of living in a place, especially in this place, like having a father who didn't have an education, who didn't have financial means, who just had violence. So perpetuating this evil cycle, we need to start opening bridges and
Happy.
avenues of communication so that we can
Safe
heal.
places for men.
Safe places for
Where
men,
they can
even.
talk
So
and-
where
yeah.
we can talk, and I always say,
Yeah,
s-
because you see,
marshmallows.
Father Ali, in that situation, I always notice men won't talk about their emotional
No.
states
They
to
don't
one
want to.
another.
They
won't
refuse.
They refuse, yeah.
They refuse.
They
About other
refuse
things.
they'll talk about
Everything,
cars and
yes,
houses and
but not
but
emotions.
but not inside. They don't look within. Whereas if women gets together, it's
Oh,
a
we
different
love to
ball
talk
game.
about our emotions.
And you see, that is also another thing that boils down to the children.
Right.
Because as the father is the head, and as the father mentors, the child then walks. The child walks within the mentoring that he sees from his father.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's important to cry in front of a child as a man. It's important to actually be vulnerable.
Yes.
You know,
Be in
and
touch
because
with your
we
emotions.
all human beings. A
Yeah.
man is a human being. A father is a human being, and I think then things will be able to change in our society. That is what is. So we came to the end of our show, beloveds, and we are so grateful that you actually tuned in. I just want Anka just to get through to that comments quickly.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of comments here today. We've got Sarika. That's here in the. I wonder who Sarika is.
I
Good
know
morning,
who
good
Sarika
morning, everyone.
is.
She's,
here.
her husband is here. Then we got Lady S that says, "Good morning, fam." She says, "Powerful thought." Shared Father Ali, and then Pastor Eileen says, "Good morning, pastors." Rodine Anthony says, "Morning." I agree with the respect. And then we got Pastor Sandy here as well that says, "Good morning, Insights fam. All parents need children, but not all children need
Yeah,
parents."
I like that.
And then also she says, "A child must children and parents must parents."
Yeah.
She was reiterating what she was saying. And then she also says, "Such great insights." Then Lady S says, "Father Ali, I recommend you as a coach to fathers and parents
Yes,
in particular."
amen. I do.
Absolutely.
Yes, so thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to say tata, quick last comments, quickly. Just a
Thank you for watching, guys. Always nice to be on this show. Love you.
From my side, let's let the fathers father and give them the space to father. That's it.
right.
Okay.
Congratulations to all fathers this coming Father's Day.
Yes, amen.
And thank you once again for allowing me on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's great to be a father. I don't know what it's like to be a father, but anyway, congratulations to all the dads. I just want to give a shout out to our senior father of this house. I have great regard for him, great respect for him. And I'm very honored to serve under him. And also, I can see the products. The product is right here in the house with me, our lead pastors. And I always tell Pastor Joan, it's not everyone that can, be so privileged to have their children following in their footsteps. So I salute you, Dr. Carl Hendricks.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Hey, amen. Have an awesome day. Celebrate the day. And come on, don't be boring. And just work together with the family. We love you. God loves you best. Go in the peace of the Lord. Mwah.
In the shade, as I look upon my life, in the shade, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. In the shade, as I look upon my